On November 28, 2013, Paul Walker signed on to Twitter to wish his followers a happy Thanksgiving. The Fast and Furious actor had many reasons to be grateful that year. The sixth installment of his beloved movie franchise had broken box office records, and he was starting to produce films of his own. But just 2 days later, on November 30th, Paul Walker died in a tragic car crash at the age of just 40. In this video, we'll take a look at the final minutes that led to the untimely death of one of the great actors of our time. Paul William Walker was born on September 12, 1973, in Glendale, California. His mother, Cheryl, was a fashion model, and his father, Paul William Walker III, was a sewer contractor and former amateur boxer, who was a two-time Golden Gloves champion. They separated around September 2004. Raised as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Walker had 4 younger siblings: Aimee, Ashlie, Caleb, and Cody. He spent the majority of his early life in the Sunland neighborhood of Los Angeles, where he studied at Village Christian High School and graduated in 1991. Then he went on to study marine biology at the University of California. Paul Walker began his career as a toddler, starring in a television commercial for Pampers at age 2. Walker's acting career began in 1984, appearing mainly in low-budget B films, such as in CBS Schoolbreak Special, a teen anthology series. He also made an appearance in the drama series Highway to Heaven from 1984 to 1986. His first appearance in the cinema was in the film Monster in the Closet in 1986. Almost immediately after recording this film, he joined the cast of the series Throb, 1986, playing a 12-year-old boy, Jeremy Beatty, son of Sandy. Then he worked on Program to Kill 1987. Between 1985 and 1994, he had the opportunity to play small roles in television shows such as Brandon Collins on the CBS soap opera The Young and the Restless, 1993. This role got him noticed for his good looks and acting skills and earned him a nomination for Outstanding Lead Actor in a soap opera at the Youth in Film Awards. He also acted in Who's the Boss, 1991. The Boys Are Back, 1994. In 1994, he returned to film, starring in Tammy and the T-Rex, but secured his first feature film role in the comedy Meet the Deedles in 1998. Although commercially and critically unsuccessful, it allowed Walker to secure supporting roles in the films Pleasantville, 1998, Varsity Blues, 1999, She's All That, 1999, and The Skulls, 2000. In 1998, Paul Walker would hook up and started dating Rebecca Soteros. They had a daughter named Meadow Rain Walker. Shortly after welcoming their child, Walker and Soteros broke up and she moved to Hawaii. When Rebecca Soteros went back to Hawaii with her daughter, she battled with alcohol addiction. As a result, her daughter Meadow Rain moved to California to live with her father. She was 13 at the time. Her godfather is Vin Diesel, with whom Walker shared a close bond. Meadow Rain lived with her dad until he passed on in the 30th of November 2013 through a tragic road accident. In 2001, Walker's breakthrough role arrived when he starred as Brian O'Connor, opposite actor Vin Diesel, in the successful action film The Fast and the Furious. The film established Walker as a notable film star and leading man. The Fast and the Furious is where it all began, and the movie laid the foundation for the massive franchise that would follow. His performance garnered the MTV Movie Award for Best On-Screen Team, shared with Diesel in 2002. In 2003, Brian O'Connor returned in the second Fast and Furious movie, Too Fast, Too Furious. In the movie, Brian is now an ex-cop working as a street racer. After this, he starred either in low-budget or commercially unsuccessful films for a time, notably Timeline 2003 and Into the Blue 2005. Walker portrayed Hank Hansen in Clint Eastwood's war film Flags of Our Fathers 2006 and starred in the survival drama 8 Below, both released in 2006. 8 Below garnered critical acclaim and opened in first place at the box office, grossing over $20 million during its opening weekend. Walker then starred in the independent film The Lazarus Project, which was released on DVD on October 21, 2008. In 2009, Paul Walker returned to the franchise with Fast and Furious, the fourth movie in the series. Walker also starred in the heist film Takers 2010 and returned to modeling in 2011, appearing as the face of fragrance brand Cool Water. In 2011, Fast 5 was released. Fast 5 is often considered the best movie in the Fast and Furious franchise. It is also notable for being the first time Dwayne Johnson, who plays Agent Hobbs, appears in the franchise. Walker was nominated for Choice Movie Actor Action at the 2011 Teen Choice Awards for the former and nominated for Choice Movie Chemistry with Diesel and Dwayne Johnson, and won his second MTV Movie Award for Best On-Screen Duo with Diesel for the latter. Released in 2013 Fast and Furious 6, Brian and Dom are once again working together to take down a dangerous criminal. It's also full of thrilling action sequences, including an epic tank chase. On November 30th, 2013, Paul Walker intended to spend the day with his family. He was discussing plans to purchase a Christmas tree with his mother Cheryl and his daughter Meadow, who was 15 years old at the time, when he suddenly remembered that his charity was holding an event. "We were having this good conversation, and he'd forgotten about an event he had," Cheryl Walker later said. "He got a text and said, 'Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be somewhere.'" The gathering went off without a hitch, but it ended in tragedy before rush hour with Paul Walker's death. At about 3:30 p.m., Walker and Rodas decided to take the Porsche for a spin to test it on a popular drifting curve at an office park in the Valencia neighborhood of Santa Clarita. Both the 38-year-old driver and his famous passenger wore seatbelts during the ride, but no precautions would help them once the car hit a curb, and the driver's side clipped a tree and a light post. The car spun around, with the passenger side hitting another tree and caught on fire. Countless terrified passers-by looked on as the shattered vehicle burned into a smoldering husk. Its passengers were still trapped inside when Rodas's young son arrived in shock. He had run over to gaze at the scene, unaware this was the same car his father had just left in, until he noted its model. Many tried to help, with shop employees reaching into the car in an attempt to pull the victims out. But due to the intense flames, they had no choice but to stand back and watch Paul Walker's death. In the end, Walker was burned beyond recognition and had to be identified by his dental records. An investigation by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department into how Paul Walker died determined that the speed of the car was a major factor. Initially, the department estimated that the Porsche was going between 80 and 93 miles per hour at the time of the crash. Later, the coroner's report determined that the car was traveling at about 100 miles per hour. The report read, "For an unknown reason, the driver lost control of the vehicle, and the vehicle partially spun around and began to travel in a southeasterly direction. The vehicle then struck a sidewalk, and the driver's side struck a tree and then a light post. The force of these collisions caused the vehicle to spin 180 degrees, and it continued to travel in an easterly direction. The passenger side of the vehicle then struck a tree, and it then burst into flames." According to the report, Walker's cause of death was traumatic and thermal injuries, while Rodas died of traumatic injuries. There were no signs of drugs or alcohol detected in either man. In 2015, Walker's daughter Meadow filed a wrongful death suit, blaming Porsche's design flaws for the accident. The bottom line is that the Porsche Carrera GT is a dangerous car, Meadow Walker's attorney Jeff Milam said. "It doesn't belong on the street, and we shouldn't be without Paul Walker or his friend Roger Rodas." Ultimately, a thorough analysis found no pre-existing conditions that would have caused this collision, and blamed worn-out tires and unsafe speeds. Both airbags had deployed as intended, with the autopsy stating Rodas had rapidly died of severe blunt head, neck, and chest trauma. The investigation revealed even more about how Paul Walker died. His autopsy noted fractures in the left jawbone, collarbone, pelvis, ribs, and spine. In addition, scant soot was found in his trachea. Porsche also claimed that the car had been abused and altered by unforeseeable modifications. Ultimately, Walker's daughter settled the lawsuit 2 years later, keeping the terms confidential. Meanwhile, the crash site became a mecca for mourning fans to leave tributes to the late actor. And since Paul Walker's death had occurred in the middle of the filming of Furious 7, Universal Pictures announced a production hiatus until they could consult with his family. After Walker was cremated and laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, his brother Cody helped the Furious 7 crew finish shooting. He not only hauntingly resembled Walker's likeness, he felt he owed him everything. "My love for cars, my love for travel, it's all from him and I miss him," said Cody Walker. "I miss him every day." Paul Walker's legacy is one of compassion and generosity. He was known for his work with the charity organization Reach Out Worldwide, which provides disaster relief around the world. Walker also had a passion for ocean conservation and was an avid surfer. He was also committed to his family and friends. After his death, the Fast and Furious franchise established the Paul Walker Foundation, which works to protect wildlife and wild places. In this way, Walker's legacy will continue to have an impact on the world long after his death.